Good morning. We are back live. It is December 3rd, 2018, and feeling a lot better. Got rested, got a little mindset adjustment. I think a lot of my problem was I'd been off my regimented diet that I put myself on at the beginning of this year. I think I had over caffeinated myself, which can make you tired, believe it or not. So, uh, no coffee this morning. I continued it Saturday and Sunday and didn't feel too good after my morning cup of joe and maybe an afternoon cup. So I decided cut that out for a while. So we are going ahead with Judge Dredd. Captain America will come later this week, but I thought that I would just put him on hold until tomorrow or Wednesday. Let's see, what do we got lined up? We have a Captain America still to do. I have a Ghost Rider on tap. And I have a yet to be announced character, which AG should be getting in touch with me this week to do. So, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the show. And I'm going to get started inking this Judge Dredd. Been looking forward to it, so I'm ready to get busy. I will do a little bit of just a little bit of technical work. Yep, Ghost Rider, Ron. That's going to be should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. I just want to get a few angles with Judge Dredd's helmet done with a tech pin and a French curve or ship curve. No, this isn't really a ship curve, but French curve. Came in a set that said French curves on them, so that's what they are. Ship curve is usually, or I think can be, a long winding piece of pliable material that you can shape yourself into all different curves and angles and stuff like that. Anyway, who cares, right? And this Judge Dredd is being done for my buddy Shannon. He had requested it, and I really had anticipated getting it done last week, but Thursday and Friday were epic fails. However, I spent the weekend studying quite a bit, actually. Didn't do any drawing. I did a lot of studying and found it very helpful. Let's see, is this all I'm going to use this for? I think I'll come in here and as you all may remember or may not, if you're first time watching the show, you probably didn't hear me speak on this, but I've really wanted to do some self-study on my favorite illustrator of all time, which is J.C. Leyendecker. And so I spent the weekend going through a lot of YouTube videos, seeing what people had said about his technique, his color choices, and all sorts of stuff, figuring out the proportions of his head. I did a little bit of myself, just like I said, not drawing, but I did take some files. I put grids over them. It's pretty amazing what this guy, what he did. He was basically, without him, there would be no Norman Rockwell. And I consider JC to be, like I said, he's my all-time favorite. And while I can enjoy a Norman Rockwell painting, I don't get the same feeling that I do when I look at Leindecker's work. Good morning, Ryan. Yes, Ryan. This is one of my Black Friday sale pieces. Cap, I did not one, not two, but three times last week, and didn't like any of them. So I put that on the shelf. And what didn't work? I don't know. It just, you know, uh, personal, for me at least. It was just a personal. I didn't like what I did. Um, I had a really good drawing, I thought, on that cap, but in the end, um, it didn't come out to my liking. So, uh, for me, that's, if I don't like it, I'm not happy sending it to a client. So you can always know and be assured that when I do something for you, if it doesn't fit my standards, it's going to be redone until it's something I feel comfortable. Don't want to see if that's dry. It's a little wet up in here. And Ron, I mean, truthfully, they were probably fine, but you know me, man. I think you, I think you might, you, you kind of see how I belabor over a lot. That would be no, Ron. It never has and never had in the past. I believe, and I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think 2000 AD ever uses artists outside the UK, do they? You, I mean, you might know more on that subject than me, but it had never presented itself. Um, I know at one point DC Comics did have the Judge Dredd comic book, I believe, and was producing new material. That's true, Ron. I got a certain amount of well, I think everybody does, but I mean, I think there are people that will settle. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I don't know. I just, if something doesn't feel right, I got to pull it back in and try to uh, try to make it right. I don't think I'm after perfection. I just think I know that this stuff will eventually wind up somewhere on the internet, and if my name's attached to it, I want it to be uh, as good as possible. It's not fun when you see something you did, say, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever, year ago. Now, yes, we grow as artists, but when you see something that is just flat out bad and you knew it was bad at the time and you let it get out there, then that becomes a whole tale of a different, different whatever, whatever that word would be. That is a very good question, Ron. I guess Judge Dredd basically um, should count as a bucket head. Yeah, I think you got me on a technicality. I didn't think about it. When I think of Dredd, I think of the chin. And thank you for clearing that up, Ryan. That's what I thought. It's one of those rare things for a non-UK artist to work for 2000 AD. That's what I had always kind of. I can't. I don't know if I would say figured, but I think I'd heard that mentioned at some point. And I also believe their rates are quite lower than American rates, which are already low. So it would really have to be a project that you just couldn't say no to, or, maybe a one and out type thing. Like say, hey, I really want to work. I want to do a Judge Dredd story, so I'm willing to take half of what an American comic would pay me to do it, or whatever the case may be. I think you got me, Ron. I think Judge Dredd should be considered a buckethead for sure. Good point, sir. You're right about that, Ryan. It's weekly. I don't know how far they try to work in advance, but I would imagine there is some sort of lead time. Now, the manga books in Japan that are weekly, the big ones, I know that most of those are produced by studios, so it may have the name of the creator on it, but they have many people, a whole studio working on that one episode for that week, or maybe they're even more, because they get everyone to draw the same as the creator, or as close as they can, and they can really produce it. But for me, I'm more interested in quality over quantity. And having my own uh, body of work versus, and this is where it gets in that area of being an inker. I'm always attached to a team, and it's really, 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 you know, become more and more where the inker is being left off of a credit. see something real quick. A text just came in and well, believe it or not, and I won't name any names, but when I got into the business, when I was a younger kid, I wasn't aware. I should have never sent a text back to my sister. I just won't reply to that one, and that'll stop that nonsense. Yep. I've come to the conclusion if you're not the writer or the penciler, you're pretty much being left off these days. So, um, so yeah, when I first got into the business and I first started seeing European editions, I did start to notice that, guess what? The writer or the artist may also have been the writer. If not, it was pretty much a writer and an artist. And the artist would do everything, including the lettering. And I was probably about 21. And I was out to eat with a group of people up in New York City, fellow professionals who had been into business for a little longer than me. And we were talking about work and techniques and just, shop talk. Shop talk. Let me say that again, please. And I had made a comment that I felt the best way to do comics was the way the European model was working, and that was the artist did the complete art from drawing, inking, coloring, lettering. You know what, Ron? He wanted to watch it, but when we left here, Bella's friend, who has a kid that is his friend, and they hang out and spend the night, they had a sleepover, so he got all excited about that. But he wanted to, before we found out about that, like immediately, because at the beginning, Jacob was for some reason a little nervous. Now that surprised me. But once he got into it, he loses that nervousness and he starts to talk. I feel very well for well, I may as well just call him a 6-year-old because his birthday is this Friday. He really loses that anxiety of being on camera, which is great, and can get into talking. communicating better and stuff. Anyway, he asked me, "Oh, can we come back tomorrow morning when I wake up and do another one?" And I told him, I said, "Well, I think we better wait, Jacob." I keep trying to tell him he needs to, have a kind of map out, like, what are you going to show people about Roblox? Have a definite tip or something. That's why I was trying to get him to do his tip about how you can change your character's look, wardrobe, hair, etc. But he had fun. We'll do it again. He wants to be a little YouTuber. So anyway, at this dinner, I was talking about the European stuff and how much I enjoyed that one person was in charge of the look of the art, and it was an assembly line. And I got pulled aside by somebody and was told that I should be thankful. And in hindsight, it's probably true, but maybe. I think there's an argument I could make for it, but no need to really entertain it now. But guy just told me, you should be thankful that, Americans use inkers, because if not, you wouldn't have this job. Okay, I can go with that. That's true. But my point was, of course, the way the Europeans were doing it, to me, felt like the proper way. However, having said that, I will qualify it with, I do feel the assembly line type approach that is used in American comics, which is kind of becoming a little less and less in a sense. You have more pencilers inking their work now, and even coloring. Um, for what it's worth, uh, I still feel that. Oh, I know. There have been, great collaborations between pencilers and inkers, and I've been lucky enough to have a couple with Mike Zeck and with Kelly Jones. I've been lucky enough to collaborate with those two guys, and I think that the combination of what we do together was always a good end product, a good combination. Yeah, it is a lot of digital work, Ron. Um, I like both. I don't mind digital work. Um, I can see I can see I don't know if need is the right word, but I can see the beauty of it in the fact that when I mess up doing this, it's over, as we well know from last week. When I mess up a digital, it's just, okay, Command or Control Z. Let's try it again. So I really feel like a good knowledge of both is essential. Because I mean, let's face it, you can't really take your computer to a convention and do digital commissions. I mean, I guess you can, but and there are people out there that actually do sell digital commissions, and I'm just like, I don't get that at all. I'll take that suggestion under consideration, Ryan. Hey, Ron, I meant to ask you, out of curiosity, I didn't know you had that original art that you'd been putting up on your Instagram. How long have you been, and is that stuff you've picked up at like Florida shows or other shows? Probably a bit of both, I'm guessing. Or maybe bought online. Auctions, really? Okay. Well, if you're ever looking for a specific artist, let me know, and maybe I can either help you directly or send you to the right source. And You won't have to fight the eBay scoundrels. I did eBay for a while. Haven't done it in a long time. I was going to do it with that Turok cover I had, but thought I'd go just direct to the art collectors that I know online, which I did, and it didn't bring the best price, but I needed to get for it what I could when I could. Um, that was just a couple months back. So, well, I can't help you there because I don't have any of that stuff left. And that Captain America page that you're looking at, Mike and I probably sold that for, 15 or $20 back in the day. Yeah, eBay can be risky if you don't know the seller. But I do have a couple of friends that are directly representatives of certain artists, and if you see something you like, and they may even have older stuff, newer stuff, older stuff. Let me know, and I can either send you their way or check into it for you. Hey, I do want to say thank you for, you guys that did turn in for Jacob's little stream time. Um, I really appreciate you all taking the time and asking him the questions and encouraging him. It means a lot to both me and him. So thanks for that. I do appreciate it. I'll take this time, as usual, to welcome any new viewers to the stream. And if you haven't yet, if you're considering it, I would appreciate if you hit the subscribe button there. Little bell will pop up for notifications. That'll let you know when I'm either on live or have posted any recorded content. And if you do like what you're seeing, I'd appreciate the thumbs up, the like down below there. It helps me out, helps the channel out, and if you have any questions, leave a comment. I do usually try to answer the question within 24 hours, if not sooner. And comments are a good thing. Subscriptions are a good thing, and likes are a great thing. So there's a lot of ways you can help my channel grow and survive in this YouTube marketplace, as it were. So even if you're not catching this live, you can still do all that. You can also share on your social media what I'm doing with your friends and your buddies on your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram, whatever you got going. I know Ron doesn't want to do Twitter. Actually, Twitter was one of my first social media platforms way back in, well, it would say if I had it pulled up, but it would say when I joined. But I didn't join fast enough to actually, or I did one of those things where I didn't get my quote actual name. I got like Big Beatty or something like that. And then when I decided, hey, you know what, I should go grab my name. Well, it was taken. And I'm seeing there's a lot more John Beatty's out there. Interesting story of another John Beatty is, I think he was on America's Got Talent, and he actually had contacted me one time before. There's John Beatty, that strongman guy. I don't know if y'all have heard of him or not, but he's the guy that bent the frying pan, bent a frying pan in half, and then I think he actually also bent it back. So he contacted me one time out of the blue. This is when I was still, I think, in Orlando, and he's been on that circuit of the strongest people in the world, doing the where you throw a pole or you turn the tires, or that type of thing. He'd been doing that, and he contacted me once about, he thought it would be cool if I could do a t-shirt or logo design for him. And I said, yeah. And that's that's where it ended. He never got back in touch with me. Let's see, Ron says, I don't want to do any social media, but I settled on Instagram where I could at least see a lot of pictures. You know what, Ron? I feel the same way. That's what I like about Instagram. Yep, and I agree. It's not a good platform for people to uh, throw their opinions out there about political, religious, and all that stuff. So you're absolutely 100% correct. And I agree with you wholeheartedly there, my man. Hey, good morning, Shannon. We are working on your Judge Dredd today. I hope you saw that in the notifications, if you're signed up for those, or maybe you just dropped in to check out what was going on and saw Judge Dredd. Anyway, welcome. And I believe after this today, my next two projects that I need to get started on are a Thanos watercolor and a Buckethead Iron Man for Ron. So I will be... Ron sent me some reference, which I am going to use. I'm going to try to find a bigger photo of it so I can just trace that sucker off. Hey, someone like Iron Man, I'll trace that off and use it. No shame. It's going to be interpreted in my style anyway, but it will at least give me the correct proportions of the bucket head. So I'm going to get those penciled out and ready. What I plan on doing with those is perhaps doing a recorded as I work, so I can kind of have a lot of concentration on them, and then go back and do a narration over the process. Also, when I'm light boxing the pencil drawing onto the watercolor paper, it's too bright to show. And since I do such a light pencil drawing, I mean, this red doesn't show up that great, but at least it shows up. I feel that doing it the way I have in mind will be the nicest way to kind of showcase those pieces. And if I crash and burn 3 times like I did on the Captain America, nobody will ever know, except for me. All right, Ron, then I'm going to make a point to do those, and they will be in steps that probably go into a playlist. I'll start with reference and transferring the pencil drawing over to the board. Actually, I'll explain gathering the reference, getting it onto the board, onto the watercolor paper rather, not the board, and I'll go into, since I do mine right now, since I do them with a black ink line for a lot of areas, and then a tonal ink wash underneath, and then lay the colors on, I'll kind of, each stage like that, I want to do a video, and then cut any outside sound. I got to learn how to use Adobe Premiere, or I could do it in, they got a new thing, Adobe. It's a light version of Premiere, and it's called RU for, I don't know, Rush or something. It's basically it's meant for social media, but it does a good job with the editing. But got to get the raw footage done first, and then once the piece is done, I'm figuring I will release the process videos. I don't know, if I'll put the whole playlist up at once, or a la a Netflix type thing where you can just binge watch it, or if I'll do them one a week or something. It could work either way, I guess. People are used to the Netflix way, I think, of releasing stuff. I'll have to check with some people and see what is the best way to release like a 5 or 6 part process. Should I make the people wait or put it all out there so they can go through it in a day if they want to binge? And if you all have any thoughts on that, leave me a comment in the comment section down below. That's for those of you who are watching this not live. Can't put it in the chat. Those of you who are watching me live, as we well know, the comments is not available until after this movie actually ends and then renders and goes through a little bit of a cycling process through YouTube. I think it's only a couple minutes, but it does show up. Hopefully Dr. Kaz has just not shown up yet. Usually I think he's appeared by now, so I'm hoping he's not under the weather or otherwise, and just maybe he got used to the 9 o'clock starts. And you know what? That that's not going to do it for me. Let me get rid of that right now. Because I'm thinking he should have got a boatload of artwork from me probably Friday or Saturday. And I'd like to ask if AG is watching this either now and just not piped up, or if he usually watches later in the day. I know for a fact. AG, if you can let me know what character you're wanting to get for your Black Friday sale piece, I'd appreciate it. That way I can kind of plan. Um, as it is right now, I still have to do the Captain America. I struggled with, boy, did I struggle with that. I got to finish that. Got to do a Cap sometime this week. I have a Ghost Rider, and I think that's it. I think I'm Cap, Ghost Rider, Dredd. I think I'm just waiting to see what AG comes up with. So AG, if you're listening and you get this far and you hear your name, you can put in the comments what you would like to what you'd like me to do for you. Hey, good morning, Dr. Kaz. Good morning, Luca. Welcome. Glad you could make it. I was just your ears must have been burning, Dr. Kaz, because I just mentioned I was wondering if you had just slept in. Because I'm hoping that you got a lot of art for me, at least by Saturday. I should have asked you when you were on with Jacob, but kind of slipped my mind with the little guy being excited that he was YouTubing. Well, thank you, Luca. Appreciate that. And I also know Dr. Kaz is getting another package from my buddy. In fact, I think that's being shipped out to you today, Dr. Kaz. And that's a good pickup. Oh, I hope not, Ron. I really hope not. AG, when you're looking at the chat or when you're looking at this stream, pay no attention to Ron's suggestion. Hey, you know what's interesting, Ron, is Craig. Craig has never seen the tones that I put on his John Wick Jack Carter piece yet. I never took a photo in and sent it. Now, you know what I did do is I did videotape me putting the tones on it, but I just haven't assembled it into a video yet to put as a third onto that playlist of the Stallone Friday. And I don't know if I will. I just figured I would record it while I was doing it. You know, it'd be funny. I should put it up there and just let him have to watch it without saying anything. All right, so looks like we got the inking done here, at least as far as we're going to take it with the black ink. I'm going to let that dry for, got some wet ink down here going on. And there may be a bit up here in the helmet. Let me tap that and see if it, no, that's dry. Oh, wow. Okay. So, Saturday was a delivery day. I'm glad to hear that, Dr. Kaz. And everything came in good shape. I wasn't sure if I should put them all in the the mailers that I bought, but those are sturdy little mailers, and I like them because they fit the artwork so well. And it just makes it so easy for me to ship a package out. So I'm glad to hear that you got them all. And as Ron found out when he came here to my office to hang out on Black Friday, maybe you could, Ron was just impressed on how much better in person they look as opposed to coming through the camera, like how much clarity is actually lost. And I'm kind of aware of it, but I'm not sure the average person is. So if you want to, perfect. That's good to hear, Doctor. And are those, are you gonna put those up in like a little framing in your office, or are those for your home? Maybe you got a home office with some comic related stuff you're gonna put in, or where where do you think you're gonna put those? Or are you just collecting them? Okay. Luckily, the weird thing is this ink tends to dry fairly quick, and that's a good thing. So I can erase the red, or most of it, and start with the tones. And I did miss some blacks in between the chains and down here, but I'll put those in. I'll put those in after I get the tones in. That way we won't have to wait for some more black ink to dry before I can start doing some tone work. All right. Get out my number 10, Simply Simmons round. Get a little piece of Bristol here, which is basically, it's one sheet of this mixed media, just so I can, one thing I do want to have is my paper towel up here to, if I get too much water on the paper, I can take some off. And that might be good for the lightest of the light on his visor. I actually should have turned this over. I wasn't thinking. I'll drop it on the floor and let that dry up. And this part of his visor tends to be the lightest. So this shade of gray, this would be like using a Copic, like a cool gray #1, I think, or if they have a 0, which I think they do, maybe even that. It's going to be very light, but that's what we want. All right, and I think I will also use it up top here. Yeah, I think so. Dr. Kaz, I have, this is a Logitech C920, and it's supposed to be HD. Now, I have no idea. I really don't. I don't know why it doesn't. It could just be because it's line drawing. And I think if I was shooting, well, even my hand, my hand, it's a little bit fuzzy, but seems more clear when you get to something with type on it. That's where it seems to fall. Hey, good morning, Don. Well, okay, I didn't know you were in, but hey, appreciate you dropping by. Have a great day. That's a good idea, Dr. Cass. That's a real good idea. That might be a good thing to do. Gonna put a little bit of this on his face, but eventually we'll get a little darker. Let me get this tape off. Yeah, I really don't know. like I said, this is not the best camera. When I bought it at the beginning of the year to start streaming, um, it wasn't even $100, but it got good reviews, and people were using it for streaming. And I think I paid 69, 59, 69. It was under $100. It was under $80. Now I think it sells for, it might be around the same, or it might be around $49. They did come out with a newer version. When I bought mine, there was a newer version, but some people had said there wasn't enough improvement in it to justify, if you had the Logitech C920, there's no reason to replace it because the upgraded version was not noticeably better. So I figured, okay, I'll listen to the people who's been using it. And I just got around to using it now, so I do know when I'm not streaming, when I am videoing just direct to my computer, the picture is sharper. So don't know what to think about that, but um, I'll have to. What I need to do is catch somebody's stream who is doing similar stuff that I am and ask them just, hey, you're getting a better picture. Um, what are you using? What's your camera? And as I said earlier, thanks for you guys that came and entertained Jacob on his little stream. He had a great time doing it, and I really appreciate you guys stepping up and chatting with him and making him feel comfortable. I don't know if you could tell or not, but by the end, he had really loosened up and was beginning to feel um, uh, the energy. He was cute. He had lost his little bit of nervousness and what do I do and this and that. I said, well, I don't know. I don't know the game. You know the game. Um, so yeah, thanks for uh, thanks for doing that. He's a good kid, and I'm trying to have some fun with him and let him kind of do, you know, trying to encourage him to get out there and do some stuff that he likes. And I loved it at the end when he started giving shout outs and included everybody. I thought he was going to shout out to the YouTubers that he followed, which he eventually did. I think I kind of had to prompt him, but he was giving a shout out to everyone in the room. I love that. That was so, I'll say, cute and sweet of him. And he will want to do more. So if y'all can come in for a couple of seconds, that'd be cool. If not, hey, I understand. I know it's all a matter of timing, so. You know what? Um, Let me see. Look into viewers YouTube default settings. So that's on the viewer side though, right? I mean, you can up your you because I know depending on your machine, it wants to auto, YouTube wants to like pick the best setting for the speed of your machine, the video card and that stuff. Now this laptop that I'm streaming from it is a Dell XPS 15 laptop, and it's really good to say the least. And I don't know why it would be giving me anything less than HD true 1080, because this camera is meant for 1080. But I will check that the settings and see if there's anything I can do to. And it could just be the camera. I mean, truthfully, it is a webcam meant basically for video calls and stuff like that. For artwork, maybe I do need something that is a little more adaptable, I guess. I like that. That's pretty funny. So far, no coffee today. I got out of the. I actually set my alarm for 3:45 a.m. this morning. I, I'm well rested. Uh, got up this morning, shaved, showered. Um, was tempted to stop and get coffee and decided that I think that was part of my problem. I think while I was, because I know about getting enough sleep and I try to get 6 to 7 hours a night, but I think the sleep I was getting was not quality sleep. Um, and I had a lot of curveballs thrown at me last week, stuff that I hadn't planned on doing that, well, just like taking Jacob to school. And I can't complain about that, but I am very, I tend to be very, what's the right word here? Not organized, but scheduled in what I do. Um, so I believe that the caffeine I was getting, I think I became over caffeinated in general, and I've kind of talked about this before to people where I take a break. At the beginning of the year, when I started my dieting, where I cut out all simple carbs, everything, as far as I could tell, and I was a maniac reading ingredients. Um, and if it had too many carbs and sugar, especially sugar, carbs, I wouldn't even touch it. Um, and so after once I started the summer convention uh, tour, so to speak, which became very, every week, every week, every week. I didn't even have the coffee at the convention. I came home one day and I came down here to my office to organize some stuff. And I went, I went and got a coffee and I was like, wow, that, I could feel it perk me up again, but not to the point to where I was jittery or anything, but just that nice little buzz, that I needed. And I kind of fell back into, you know, drinking coffee as a daily thing, and I haven't stopped. And like I said, I think I call it over caffeinated. Over caffeinated. I don't know what the correct terminology is, but it just felt like I should cut it out. And even yesterday, when I had the coffee after I got done drinking it, I didn't feel that good. So I'm off of it. I'm back off coffee for a while. So I feel your pain, Ron. How long has it been since you've had a coffee? And when I started back, I kind of started doing a keto coffee, a fat coffee from Starbucks, which is basically I would go in and get the sugar-free vanilla Trenta iced coffee, and instead of the milk or whatever they put in it, I had them put heavy cream, which is the fat, which gives you that full satisfied feeling. or supposed to anyway, and it did. When it turned cold, I was drinking the coffee mainly because I hadn't had hot coffee in a while, and it was just, so I got away from the iced coffee and went to the hot coffee. But I think if you all remember that we're here when I was streaming on Friday, but I deleted that. Remember, I was feeling warm because the temperature hadn't, the AC hadn't kicked in my office yet, because it wasn't at the right temperature to kick on. And I don't know, bunch of stuff. Thank you, Dr. Kaz. I appreciate the props. 12 hours? It's been at least that for me too, Ron. My coffee I had yesterday morning was sometime at least before this time. Before, what are we at? Like 8:35 or something? Yeah, it was definitely earlier in the day. Do you prefer iced or hot coffee, Ron? I have an answer, which I will give you. I just curious as to your preference, if you have one. Trying to get a nice dark tone here for his Judge Dredd dark suit, but I think that might be a little dark. Let's see if I can't tone it down a touch. That's pretty good. But is it going to stay? It might. And we might get a little painterly on it, so meaning, the tones will blend in. I think this is going to work out good. Okay, you know what? That cold snap we had uh, last week, that made me want the hot coffee, of course. But um, normally I like the iced coffee, like a cold brew, or just like I said, like the coffee I mentioned. Which if you go to Starbucks, if you like a lot to drink, get the Trenta. That's 30 ounces. Have them give you a if you like Starbucks. If not, I tried this at Dunkin', and the guy had no idea what I was talking about, so I just passed. Oh, I think I told you this before. I think I told you this at the Daytona show. And basically, I get a 30-ounce Trenta and have them put the sugar-free vanilla in it because that's the only sugar-free flavor they have. I wish they would get some other ones, but it seems like vanilla, which is another thing I get tired of. I wish they'd have like hazelnut or something. Anyway, I'll just cut to the cold versus hot. Cold outside, hot coffee, great. Um, Florida weather, what happens for me is when that coffee hits that certain temperature where it's no longer at that certain point, it just to me tastes horrible. There's no saving it. You just got to dump it out. So with iced coffee, it will dilute a little bit, but it still maintains to me, a better flavor than a hot coffee that gets cold or even like very lukewarm. I mean, I can stand it when there's a certain temperature coffee gets to for me that I can't drink it at any longer. It just loses everything. Hmm. Interesting, doctor. Do you mean like uh, switch from maybe coffee to a tea? So it's, you're still getting a little bit of caffeine, but it's not as much, or um, I like the taste of coffee. So I don't, I could probably do decaf, but I just don't. I think that's like a more of a mental thing, I'm like, well, if I'm going to drink coffee, why drink decaf? Seems like fake coffee. Although I never had a problem when I drank soda, having a diet soda, thinking it was like fake. Ah, right. Gotcha. Okay. That's what I was thinking. Um, and that's actually what I was going to do is, uh, instead of coffee, I was going to switch back over to green tea. Uh, because I know it's not as caffeinated, but it does have a lot of benefits, or so I've heard. Okay, I think we're about done with Dredd here. I'm gonna add a little bit of tone here. So these aren't so stark white in the middle of, there we go. Although they are in the front, I kind of want to at least give them little texture, little shine. And I think we can about put the calling this one done. Let's see, let me straighten out my board here. Jacob kind of got it crooked and I haven't I haven't got it quite set back right. There we go. That looks good. Okay. So that will be Shannon's Judge Dredd for December 3rd, 2018. And I hope you all like it. I think I'm satisfied with it. I don't see anything sticking out on me when I look at my camera shot, which gives me a better view. I had a lot of fun doing it. It's been a long time since I've done a Judge Dredd. Thank you, Shannon. Thanks for ordering this up and giving me the chance to do it. All right, so everybody, I'm going to call it a day. I got things I need to do. I will be back tomorrow with Ghost Rider or Captain America. I'm going to have to tackle that Captain America and get him out of the way. I don't know why my favorite character has given me such a hard time, but in the meantime, I appreciate you all coming out. If you'd like to share, please do. I could use some more subscribers. I appreciate you guys very much. Thank you. And and let's see. So tomorrow, maybe I should do the Ghost Rider. See what AG. I'll just kind of play the day out. I'll see what the AG comes in with. He might come in with one of those characters that I need to reference, like I did here with Judge Dredd. He's not someone I draw every day, so I have to kind of figure out how the helmet works and stuff. But yeah, so thank you all. I appreciate it once again. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share. And that's it for today. I will see you all in the morning. Have a great one. And that's about it. Take care.